Welcome. This is the Senior Safety Advice Podcast, and we are so glad that you've made it to a calmer corner of your day. Here, we focus on real solutions, practical help, and the kind of encouragement we could all use a little more of. So let's get to it.
Here's something most families never realize until it's already happening. The holidays can overwhelm older adults long before anyone sees the signs. The noise, the lights, the crowds, the fast pace all add up quickly. Today I'm going to walk you through the early signs of holiday overstimulation in seniors and the simple ways you can support your loved one before stress turns into confusion, withdrawal, or even unsafe situations. I'm Robin Schultz, Dementia Care Specialist, and I've spent many years helping older adults stay comfortable and confident at home. These tips come from real homes and families and real holiday moments where small adjustments made a big difference. All right, let's get into it. The holidays can be joyful, warm, and full of tradition, but they can also be loud, busy, and unpredictable. And for many seniors, that mixture can feel overwhelming. I've sat with many families who wanted the perfect holiday, with a big gathering and all the music and the laughter, the grandkids running around, and all of that is wonderful. But when you look across the room and see an older adult trying to hold it together, it tells a different story. You can see them trying to keep up, trying not to disrupt the excitement, trying not to say, "I need a break." And sometimes that effort comes at a cost. Holiday overstimulation is more common than most people think. It doesn't always show up as panic or frustration. Sometimes it's quiet and subtle and almost invisible unless you know what to look for. For some seniors, especially those with dementia or mild cognitive changes, overstimulation can show up as sudden confusion. They might start asking the same question over and over. They may forget where they are for a moment, or they may cling to one person because everything around them feels unfamiliar. For others, overstimulation looks like withdrawal. They might retreat to the edge of the room. Their shoulders might tense up. Their attention might drift. You might notice them staring at the floor or watching people instead of joining the conversation. And for some seniors, the signs are physical. Their balance might get worse. Their steps might get slower. They may start rubbing their hands or fidgeting or tapping their fingers. Sometimes they'll ask to leave a gathering early, even if it's still early in the day. Another important thing to understand is this. Overstimulation is not a character flaw, and it's not a sign that someone is being difficult. It's the body trying to manage too much input all at once. Think about everything the brain is processing at a holiday gathering. There's music and talking and laughter and clinking dishes and flashing lights and smells from the kitchen and people moving in and out and conversations happening at different volumes. Most of us barely notice it. For a senior, especially with one who has changes in vision or hearing or cognitive function, that amount of sensory input can be exhausting. And when the brain gets tired, everything becomes harder. Processing conversations, staying steady on their feet, following instructions, reading the room, keeping up socially. And that's why it's so important to recognize overstimulation early and respond with care. One of the most helpful strategies is something that I call a quiet corner, and it doesn't have to be complicated. It can just be a cozy chair with a lamp. It can be part of the living room where the noise doesn't echo. It can even be a small side room with the door cracked open. The key is that it feels safe. When I walk into homes during the holidays, I often look around for a space like this right away. I want to know where I can guide someone if I see them getting overwhelmed, and I always let the family member or caregiver know where that spot is too. You can set it up with things that your loved one enjoys. Maybe put a favorite blanket in there, or a simple activity like a magazine or a puzzle that they can read or look at. Photos. It's not about isolating the person, it's about giving them a moment to breathe and process. And here's something else I would like you to remember. Choosing quiet is not the same as choosing loneliness. Quiet gives the brain space to recharge. Noise is another factor families often underestimate. Holiday gatherings can layer sound on top of sound without anyone noticing. Maybe someone's playing music and the TV is showing a holiday parade or a football game. The kids are laughing in the next room. Someone's unloading dishes into the sink. Someone else is talking loudly to be heard over the music. It all blends together until it doesn't. When I talk with families, I often suggest choosing one sound to keep and turning the rest down or off. Maybe background music stays on, but the TV goes off, or the music pauses during dinner so people can hear each other without shouting. One small adjustment can reduce stress for everyone in the room. Lighting is another big one. Blinking lights and bright spotlights and shiny decorations and fireplaces, all that can be overstimulating. Warm, soft lighting helps the brain relax. If your loved one has dementia, it's especially important to avoid flashing or quickly shifting lights because those can actually increase confusion. Another strategy that helps is planning shorter activities. Instead of expecting a senior to participate for 5 or 6 hours straight, break the day into segments. Give them space to step away and come back in when they're ready. For example, maybe they come for lunch and stay for presents, and then they take a break. Maybe they join in for cookie decorating, but skip the noisy game time. When the expectations match their energy level, the whole day goes smoother. And speaking of games, not every holiday activity has to be high energy. If your family loves lively games, that's wonderful. Just also keep something slower paced available. Maybe a simple card game. Maybe a slow-paced conversation in a quieter room. Maybe looking through old holiday photos or talking about traditions. That's still connection, and that's still joy. Sometimes families worry that creating quiet spaces or offering breaks might make a senior feel separated. But what I've seen over and over is that the opposite happens. When a senior feels supported, not rushed, not overwhelmed, they actually engage more. Their energy lasts longer, their mood stays steadier, they feel included in a way that respects their needs. One thing I encourage is using language that feels soft and supportive. Instead of saying, "Dad, you look overwhelmed," you can say, "Dad, would you like to sit somewhere quieter for a few minutes?" Or, "Mom, let's take a little break together. Come sit with me." That shared moment protects their dignity and gives them a safe transition. Another thing that helps is paying attention to timing. Some seniors have more energy earlier in the day. Others do better in the afternoon. If you can schedule the main gathering during their strongest hours, it helps prevent fatigue from turning into overstimulation. Food and hydration matter too. Big gatherings often mean delayed meals, long gaps between snacks, or eating rich holiday dishes that can affect blood sugar or energy levels. Making sure your loved one has a light snack and stays hydrated can help keep their mood and stamina steady. Now I want to talk about one thing that's often overlooked, and that's emotional overstimulation. Holidays bring memories. Some are sweet and some are painful. Seniors may think about loved ones who aren't here anymore. They may reflect on how much life has changed. They may feel pressure to keep up with younger family members. All of that can create emotional fatigue that blends with sensory overload. A private check-in can make a huge difference. Something as simple as, "How are you feeling right now?" opens the door for your loved one to share if they need reassurance or a moment of quiet. And here's the thing, you don't need big solutions. Sometimes a 5-minute break, a warm drink, or a quiet chat away from the crowd is enough to reset the entire afternoon. One of the most powerful things you can offer is reassurance. Let your loved one know they're not a burden, they're not slowing anything down, they're not ruining the holiday. They're part of the day, and their comfort matters. That reminder alone can ease a lot of stress. Pacing is also important. You can spread activities through the day or even across several days, and that can help to keep energy levels balanced. Maybe cookie baking happens one day and gift wrapping on another. The big meal might be its own separate event. When everything isn't packed into one nonstop schedule, there's room to breathe. And if you're the caregiver, remember this. It's okay to simplify. Traditions can evolve. You don't have to recreate every detail from the past. You can choose the parts that bring the most happiness and let the rest go. Your loved one will feel the difference. The main goal is connection, not perfection and not a picture-perfect moment. Just connection that feels gentle and present and real. I've watched seniors light up during the simplest moments, like holding a warm cup of cocoa, listening to soft carols, sitting next to a grandchild who's reading a book, watching snow fall through a window, or laughing quietly with someone they love. These moments don't require bright lights and loud voices and a full schedule. They just need a calm environment and a little space to breathe. So as you plan for the holidays, give yourself permission to slow things down, to soften the environment and create spaces where everyone, not just your senior loved one, can relax. When we understand overstimulation and respond early, we protect our loved one's comfort, their mood, and their safety. And we also protect our own peace of mind. So thank you for joining me today. You'll find more reflections and resources for seniors and caregivers at seniorsafetyadvice.com. And come back tomorrow for another moment of calm, guidance, and encouragement right here on the Senior Safety Advice Podcast. Until next time, take care. Bye.
This podcast is part of our mission to help older adults live safely and independently. If you'd like to take the next step, visit aginginplacedirectory.com, where you'll find specialists, helpful resources, and inspiration to make every home your place to thrive.